Hello, beautiful people. My name is Rachel, and this is our homestead. Anybody who's followed me before, I had at the point of never showing my face on my videos for several reasons. One of them, I wasn't very comfortable with it at the time, and my main point was to show off my pets and show how I care for them, how I take care of them. So anybody who followed me in the way distance past, which I don't think I've made a video in almost 9 years, so it's been a while. But I always went by the persona Winter Beauty, and I didn't make a point to give my real name or anything like that. So, hello, officially. And this journey that I'm going on is not just for myself. It's for my family's health, my health, and the benefit of my children to learn, good life skills, learning about the benefits of hard work, the benefit of knowing where your food comes from. And so this is what we've accomplished. It took a lot of work to get where we are today. We are so excited to share this journey with you. And as you can see, we have a lot of work ahead of us, but I'm very excited. So I wanted to share a little bit about what our plans are for this homestead and have you guys follow along on our journey. So first of all, we have this beautiful stable right here. This has, as we can tell, they used to have horses on this property, and what a lot of people know with horses, especially if they're not rotationally grazed or anything like that, the grass gets eaten down to nothing. So it's just the beginning of spring, and as you can see, there's mostly just clovers and weed growth around here. There's not a lot of grass that I have been able to find as of yet. So our plan long term is to rotationally graze cows on this property, a couple of dairy cows and a couple of meat cows every season. So how am I supposed to do that when my property looks like this? Well, there's even leftover horse manure, which that will come in handy. Good nitrogen for the soil. But our plan for this year is to just start. Basically, our plan is to have raised garden beds, do some flower garden beds, just completely give this place a facelift. This is just over 10 acres of property, and most of it is wooded, which honestly, most people probably would think that would be a real turnoff, but isn't for myself personally, because another long-term goal is our 10-year goal is to be about 75% self-sufficient, and we'll fill in the cracks with local markets and local farmers, local homesteaders. We really want to be a part of the homestead community and everything that it offers. And I will tell you that 5 years ago, this wasn't even a thought or a prayer in my heart. I loved animals, and I followed a lot of exotic animal keepers, a lot of reptile keepers, exotic birds, things like that. And I always dreamed of having that kind of stuff of my own. But as a lot of hobby keepers will tell you, it is a very expensive endeavor unless you're planning on doing large-scale breeding and distribution. So that was out of the question for me because I have a family. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my husband goes to work during the day, and so I do the work at the home, and then we'll do work together when he comes home in the late afternoon, and then we usually try to have family time in the evening. So my husband said to me one day, honestly, unless you can find a way to make this profitable, why would we do this? Or a way that it's going to benefit us. Like, are we going to get anything out of these animals? What are they going to give us in return? And that really got me thinking. And I was at the time very pregnant with my second child, and I came across Justin Rhodes. Now, a lot of you homesteaders probably know him. He's in close connection with Joel Salatin. And if you haven't heard of either of them, well, just look them up. They're worth it. And I just fell in love with his family. I fell in love with what he's doing with this place that he has in North Carolina or South Carolina. I believe it's North Carolina he's still in. But he is just inspiring. And 5 years ago, I found his videos and I started watching them. And I decided, you know what? That's what I want to do with my family. Not just because I love animals, which is a huge part of my life. I'm also a hunter and I love to go fishing. But the main reason I wanted to get into this is because of those two little kiddos right over there. I wanted a better life for them. I wanted even more than what I experienced, which I went and worked at my grandpa's beef farm whenever I got a chance because I loved it out there. I loved being around the animals. I loved working with them. I loved helping my grandparents. And I loved the freedom that the country offers. And to this day, I have never been a city girl, but I have been living in cities for the last 10 years. And we did have one section in that 10 years for 2 years that we were actually living in a house that was, I would say, mostly in the country, but it was near a busy road. So we constantly had road noises and we had to worry about our kids running out into traffic. But it was a wonderful little neighborhood of people. We didn't have like really close neighbors, but they were a small walking distance away. And they were all very nice and excited when we actually decided during COVID to get chickens. And we raised a flock of chickens, and we had a Justin Rhodes mobile chicken coop and a guard goose and some ducks as well and a rooster. And it was an amazing success. Thanks to Justin Rhodes, I was able to raise up 16 chickens to almost full grown without losing a single one. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen every time, but the combination of the way he teaches you about taking care of them, the miracle water, and how you give, what kind of feed you give them, everything is incredible. Just what a boost that gives them and how strong they remain during that whole time. And I decided, yes, I definitely believe we can do this. And so many people were like impressed with the fact that our chickens were so healthy and everything like that. And they didn't think at first that we were really serious about this. And in fact, we still have family who are like, I don't know. And so this is our starting point. We are praying, God willing, that this beautiful little piece of land will be our forever home and that we get to share it with you. So I'm really excited. I'm not going to go into all the details of what we plan on doing on this place, but in a future video, we have something that's coming up in the next month. Yeah, it's the last day in March right now. It's March 30th today, and it's actually beautiful. First time it's been warm in a week. We had another freeze come through. We had more snow and ice, and it was just miserably cold again after like a couple of weeks where we were having it through, in the average 40s to 60s, and which in the northern states is actually pretty comfortable and warm in March. But then we had it dropping down into the teens at night and being in the 20s during the day, and it was super bitter cold and windy. And so this is the first warm day we've had, and they say we're supposed to get some rain today, but I don't know. The sun's shining pretty good, and the clouds are very sparse, so we'll see. But I'm actually excited because one of the things I want to observe while the rainy season's going through is where the water pools, where it tends to collect, where it tends to run, so that I know where I want to place my raised garden beds and where I want to put my fruit trees. Now, the cool thing about this place is the previous owners actually had some fruit trees planted. So if we come over this way, and that's the other cool thing. A nice steady chicken coop. It's actually very well built, and my plan is to have my garden flock in that one, and then I will raise another flock to run behind my cows eventually. But I will be rotationally grazing them, moving them over the ground. See, as you can see, it's a very sandy soil, and they say there's pros and cons to every type of soil. Now, it's not all this sandy, but there are patches where it's this sandy, and so it'll be the problem of reawakening the soil and giving it the proper amendments to be able to host life. So we have a couple of fruit trees. We tested them, they're all alive. So there's one there, and then you got one more right there, one more right there. Now, based on the labels, I think 2 of them are apple trees and 2 of them are nectarines, which I'm totally fine with. They're like basically a small peach, and we'll utilize whatever we can get. So, and we'll also be utilizing this beautiful deck. This was left by the previous owners, not our cat tree. We will be burning this. And it's a nice big deck where we plan to host many a gathering. And that is Sandy, our sweet, loving family dog. And she is enjoying all the new sights and smells, because up until just a couple weeks ago, she was a city dog and spent a lot of her time inside. We did take her out on walks and stuff like that, but this is a whole new level, and she loves being out here with the kids. Even if it means when I'm inside, she has to be on a line, but she loves it out here, and she loves being able to watch the kids. In fact, she gets really upset if she doesn't get to go outside with them. But yeah, this is our homestead, and I am so excited to make this ours. We got storage shed over there, chicken coop over there. There's this dog shelter thing. I'm gonna repurpose it, probably make it up again for Sandy for any time we would need to leave the house or something like that. At least she could be outside when it's good weather. And this is actually our water shed. It's where our water pump is, and it has a little space heater in there to keep it warm during the winter months. But that's also gonna be where I keep my garden supplies. And this is just a beautiful little bit of landscaping here, which we want to clear out. I cannot wait to rake up all these leaves and actually make it so that we can see the earth underneath and we can start working with it. The kids and I are very excited to get gardening. This will be my first year ever having them do any kind of gardening stuff. But I learn best when I'm doing. I do not do well with just the video knowledge or the book knowledge. And that's why I'm very excited about telling you about 2 projects I especially have this year that I am super excited about. And one of them, I should say 3, because the raised garden beds are also there. And the project that me and my husband will be working on this year is clearing dead or unwanted trees from the property. Now, this is going to take a couple years to complete. We know that, but we want to just get started. So the first place I want to start clearing, I can show you guys, is actually where they had already fenced off a pasture, which rough estimates is about an acre to an acre and a half, maybe a little more. But I want to start clearing out that area. They've already started doing some clearing, but I want to make it where it's just like, I want it to be silvopasture. So I want it to be just sparse trees here and there to protect against weather and to have shade, and then the rest of it be open grazing pasture. And in order to do that, I need to get that place reseeded, revamped up, and less shaded, and no pine trees, no pine needles. They're not allowed on my yard. I don't like how they choke out the grass. And so I told Daniel from the get-go, just like, I don't want any pine trees on this place. I am most interested in nut-bearing trees and maple trees, because those can be utilized. Now, will we ever process the nuts? Don't know. Don't know what kind of trees we have out here, so I don't know what breed or what type. But I do know that eventually, this is a way far in the future process, but eventually I'd love to learn how to tap maple trees and make our own maple syrup. And so the nut-bearing trees would be more for the wildlife. I do want to be able to hunt on this property. It looks like they have done it in the past. And so I want to clear out, make this a little bit cleaner, and make it so that animals can pass through here easily, and eventually get it to the point where I have regular areas that the deer visit on our property. Now, do I want them everywhere? No. And that's going to be a learning process. And I'm willing to do the trial and error. I am willing to fail and then to pick up and learn from it and keep going. And so you also get to see me learn how to edit videos, because obviously this is an uncut video. It's very jerky, and I do not have what you would call proper vlogging equipment. I literally just have a phone and a holder, one of those like selfie sticks type things, but it's a little heavier duty, so it can hold my phone nicely. But I have a nice phone, and I have a nice camera. I feel like it works really well. And so this will be how I make do to start with, but I'm going to be learning how to edit videos properly and make it so that it's a funner, I tell my daughter never to use that word, a better viewing experience for you and more enjoyable. And so I hope that you guys are as excited as I am to start this journey. And this is the perfect time to do it, at the very beginning of spring, where things are starting to warm up, things are starting to come alive. And I am honestly so excited. I already love you guys, and I can't wait to see where this takes us. And I hope you'll come on this journey with us. And a special shout out to Justin Rhodes for inspiring me to do what is best for my family and to do what is best for me and to live a healthy life. And as you can tell, I'm not healthy right now, but I'm in the process of working on that. And I've already upped my stamina after being out here and just working every day consistently, building up strength. Because I'll be honest, living in the city, my life was pretty sedentary. And even though I would go outside with my kids, I'd go swimming, I'd do walks and stuff like that, there was no motivation behind it. And we ate poorly. And we're actually in the process of reading, I highly recommend this book, The Marvelous Pigness of Pigs by Joel Salatin. If you have not read it, read it. It is so inspiring and so convicting about just earth stewardship and how we take care of animals, what we buy, and how that is somehow our stamp of approval. And that, like, how people process animals, how people process foods, that we're okay with that. And I really am not. And so we are in the process of purging and only eating fresh organic food. Now, anybody will tell you that this is not a cheap endeavor, because places will charge more money just because it's organic or just because it's free range. And if you actually look it up, there's a lot of loopholes, and there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of misdirection and misconception on what those mean. And so once I did a little digging, and I realized just how messed up our food system is. It's quite shocking, to be completely honest. If you want to get angry at the food industry, watch the documentary Food Inc. It's actually free on YouTube right now. You can watch it. It won't cost you a cent. And I highly recommend it for the whole family. And honestly, it'll make you never want to go to McDonald's or Burger King or any of those fast food joints ever again. And it will also make you want to pick up a phone and start screaming at the large food industries, even the ones we were told were good for us. And so I'm just jammering at this point. But thank you guys for your support. And seriously, go check out Justin Rhodes' videos. They are incredible. Until next time. Woof woof, Sandy.